welcome back. Good to see you. Professor Shurts here today, and we will be making a monoprint. You'll be using your first exercise in printmaking. Monoprints are a nice transition from painting because you'll still be using a paintbrush and a liquid substance, so it's a wet medium. And here's an example of what I made for today. So here we go. You ready? Just jump in, dive in. Pinky promise? Thanks. The directions I'm handing out for this project are from this book, Draw, Paint, Print Like a Great Artist. They use an example of monoprint that Andy Warhol made these little books of these kitty cats. And we're going to use the same techniques. The materials that you need are an absorbent paper, like Xerox paper or mixed media paper, a non-absorbent paper. Examples of that would be tracing paper. I'm going to try wax paper. We'll try that out first. Palette paper. Ones I've done in the past. I used tracing paper. The first thing to remember is that you have to make any wording that you include in reverse. You'll be painting onto your non-absorbent paper, and you need to make it in the reverse. This is why I like to have paper that is transparent. That way, on the other side, I can write it properly, and then flip it over, and then use the ink. So I like to use a pencil first, or then a Sharpie. Today, I think I'll just go straight to a Sharpie. So beyond that, you want to tape these two different surfaces together because you'll be repeating laying your ink down, and you'll be repeating pressing it as you move along your chosen image. Since I have this paper that is transparent, how about I write down a word? I'll put social distancing down. You could take text. Oh, my pen is not working very well. Oh, to choose the font, you don't need to make it up yourself. You can take this out of a magazine, but I'm just going to write it out. Social. And since it's about distancing, I'll write distancing. Alright. And then let's just start with that. Let's just start with the text. The reason I want you to really get this ingrained, that the text must be put into reverse. So let's start with that. The two things you mainly want to recall and have a focus on for printmaking are to consider that you must reverse text, and then second, it is really important. This is the ink. I believe you guys have a similar kind. It's just black ink. And I'm going to use paintbrushes. That you consider the negative space of your image. it already started to go through. Huh. Must be very porous. So I put my pen to the side, I pick up a paintbrush, and now I'll get the hang of it. I put the ink, there was some really watery ink, I could have like mushed it around in there better, and then a thick side. But typically you just activate the ink on a pane of glass by using the Baron. Is this one the Brayer or the Baron? Brayer. I'll get it straight at next one. On a piece of glass, and let's do it. Let's do it, right? I'm gonna get a palette. Oh, these would be nice too. You can use these if you just have any sort of plastic, anything, instead of glass. So I'll take it from this palette. And what you do, so you won't have one of these at home, but maybe you could mix it up with your paintbrush. I want to show you this is how we would do it if you were at school. And I'm not waiting for the squeaky sound you hear. That just means it needs some oil in the creases of it. But I'm waiting for this ink to make a sort of tacky sound, like Velcro-y kind of. So I'll just keep mixing it around until it does that. What could you use at home that is like this? This is the first thing I thought of when I realized that I was gonna have to teach you remotely. I was like, what will they use instead of this? And I guess you could use a rolling pin, but it would get ink on it. Yeah, if you come up with something, tell me, like, put it in leave me a message there on YouTube and tell me, and I'll update it. I'm always trying to improve. I'm going to start with my really small one. You'll be so relieved that the ink does not dry as fast as acrylic paint. So I'll first do social. Let's see how it's panning out. I'll use my hand. Let's see how it sets up. The S is very thick. Social. And this paper is extremely absorbent. The mixed media paper would resist a little bit more. I'll do one of those as well. Social distancing. So we got it facing the right way. We have it positioned here. Now it needs something with it. I think I'm just going to, I have this like spare piece from my collage. I kind of just want to do the outline of these windows. I want to see if that turns out. It's really small. It may not work as you typically want things to be a little larger as the ink spreads, you know. But, you know, whatever. I'm just playing around, just trying to get to know you, printmaking. Making a mono print. The ink, the more it will stay in its position. And if it were to be the transfer paper, it would stay in the position as well more. Whereas this kind of recoils back into like the main spot I put pressure on. But you know, it's playtime. I really like pattern and architecture. I like to study them also in addition to art history. So this is a nice mix of the two. I didn't grab it to be some huge connection to my idea of social distancing. But hey, why not? Social distancing, we had to stay inside for a long time, right? Here is an exterior view of windows. The meaning can happen while you're making it. Okay, so now it's drying up a bit. Let's see how it is as it's drying. Staying better. You don't want it to be too dry though, then it won't transfer. Find some edges, some curves, bring those back. Let's see what happens. Oh, it goes off the page. That's okay. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. It's funny, I wasn't going to do these little cross hatching, but that's turned out some of the best. Oh, look at this little bit that's on the side. So as the ink, for me, is drying more, yours will probably come out more smoothly. I just haven't used mine in a year. No. 6 months or so. I taught this last semester. But it's thickening up. And it'll be easier and easier. How about I try another one on a different kind of paper? Let me go get all that. Here's, before that, here's a couple I made a few years ago. This is just on newsprint. You could use your newsprint. That would be a great choice. And make a whole bunch. So I made a number of different copies. It's a great way to reproduce an image but still have your hand showing in it. It's much faster. Here's just, we picked some plants from outside and I outlined around it. This one I outlined around it but then painted it in myself. I made a couple copies of it, around it, little fern. Oh, that would be a good one. I'll go grab a plant. We'll do that one next. So mixed media paper, wax paper, find the seam, press it down, and I'm gonna get a flower or leaves. Let me go pick something up. This is a palm frond or a frond of a staghorn fern. My husband is the prince of staghorn ferns. His dad is the king of staghorn ferns. I think I'll do the drawing first. He has so many that he grows in his backyard. So we're so lucky because we get to benefit from getting some also. Just do an outline of it, and you could choose any leaf of anything. I chose a flatter one. Alright, so that's the outline of it. Let's jump over to the painting side of it. I'm going to grab a bigger brush. It almost looks like a Dr. Seuss swoosh. Cool. Has a little bit of that building in it. How about we do a couple of them on here? Reposition it. I'm just showing you ideas. Your assignment will be to make a monoprint. I want you to include text. I'll add text to this one. It's only fair. But I want you to really explore what method you feel connected to. Do you want to copy an image? Do you want to outline an object? Make something that's completely your own? Explore that. Cute. It's like we're pinky promising. Bella, it's like I just made a pinky promise. Didn't mean to. Come look at it. I made it with this staghorn leaf, and I think it looks like a pinky promise, and I was hoping, will you do me a pinky promise? Thank you. Well, that might be a little too big. Here's 2 paintbrushes. Dip it in the ink. That's ink, it's not paint. And then you follow these lines. This is called a monoprint. It's printmaking.
Mama, I think I want to use that.
How? Out of the video record mode. You good, BB?
No.
You look great. I'm almost done. I'll be done in like 10 minutes. Oh, please don't get the paintbrush. I need to, let's see, was this the one that worked? I'm gonna write the words pinky promise. Pinky promise. Pinky promise. Lowercase, don't you think? Should I do lowercase or uppercase?
Lowercase.
Oh, thanks, pal. Okay, pinky promise, huh? Put another piece of tape down. Maybe even another. Come on, let's be real. I'm gonna write it upside down.
Yes.
Yes. Pinky promise. Pinky promise. Can you turn down your video, Bellamy? Bella. Aw, I like this one. It's so cute. Pinky promise. My little thumbprint is still there. Pinky promise. Well, I guess that could be like, pinky promise. My little thumbprint is still there. Pinky promise. Well, I guess that could be like, do you think that was Bellamy's pinky? Here. We'll add a bunch of little pinky. I tend to think it's better to just work with what you have. So when you have something like that, let it teach you something you could not have planned for. And now, if you guys find out that I'm missing, you can say, oh, you can just go look at Professor Shurts' little Pinky Promise artwork. And you can see if that lady who you found in the ditch is her. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Cute. Pinky Promise. Alright. So go be wild and free. Make your monoprint. Whenever I teach this, I get the question, why don't we just paint directly on this piece? And what monoprinting allows you to do is you can make mini prints and it's already prepared. So if you wanted to, you could make a book. If you wanted to make a book for friends and make a couple of editions, then you could do that using monoprinting. And that's what Andy Warhol did with his cat books. I have more images of the cat books on the PowerPoint presentation. You can see it's pretty cute. And then he painted it with watercolor afterwards. Created a mixed media piece. Alright. Have fun. Ta-da!